if they do that, they're going to be very, 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 very tough to beat.
That's why Hunter's in right there. Oh, got to shoot a three.
Wilson. Oh, and we are tied.
What a game.
Let's go.
Call the five slammer down.
And I don't ever let them forget where we come from.
Getting those phones out. Record me acting ignorant, man.
Baylor empties it out. Oh, it toss. It's going the other way. Second pick of the night. Jeremiah Wilson finishes this one.
The dream is alive for Houston.
Go Coogs! Let's go!
Welcome into another episode of Let's Rage Coogs, presented by the Saxenian Family. We are coming off the heels of a tough loss for the Houston Cougars men's basketball team. The 6th ranked Houston Cougars basketball team, 82-81 to 22 ranked Texas Tech at home from the Fertitta Center. It is the first loss that the Cougars have suffered inside of the Fertitta Center since January 2023, when it was the Temple Owls that upset Houston in conference play. Not only did this loss snap that Fertitta Center winning streak for the Cougars, but it also stopped a 18-game conference winning streak that the Cougars had going back to last season in Big 12 conference play. It was another overtime game. Unfortunately for Houston, this time out, it didn't go the Cougars' way. And there's a lot to discuss in this game. Give credit to Texas Tech because they came out from the get-go, and it seemed like they were the ones that were the aggressors. And obviously there was a lot of controversy at the beginning after the ejection with JT Toppin, and just a lot of there was just a lot of energy in the arena from the get-go. But Dayon joining me as always. Sorry, bring you in here for this show. There's just so much to digest from this game between Houston and Texas Tech.
It was, man. It was that call from that was a horrible call. I mean, that was ridiculous. It wasn't intentional. But after that, it was Texas Tech came to play. Houston, and we came to play as well. I like the start, but it's just it's a lot to unpack. That's a tough one, though. But that's a good game to learn from, because these moments like this, I think we'll learn different ways to put the ball in different people's hands to close. But man, what a game! Definitely respect to Texas Tech. They earned my respect tonight, because I hadn't seen maybe one or two of their games prior to the season, and they're just a scrappy team, man. They play tough, they play hard, they made some big shots, tough shots, contested shots, and they really match Houston in the realm of their toughness. And so definitely tip my hat to Texas Tech. They earned that win. That was a hard-fought win on the road. They earned it.
Yeah, and there's a lot that we'll touch on, and Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundbar Review is currently in the post-game press conference with Kelvin Sampson, and they are playing the news conference over the loudspeakers and on the Jumbotron here at the Fertitta Center. Kelvin Sampson sounds really really ticked off at that in that presser. But let's talk about the second half first. And really down the stretch, there was a lot of different things. First of all, LJ Cryer, he had a great game for the Cougars offensively tonight. Finished with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and late down the stretch, when Texas Tech rallied a little bit and Houston needed a sustainable score, they once again went to Juwan Roberts late down the stretch. And for Houston, there were moments there where they had opportunities to close out this game in regulation, and they just could not do it. And the biggest thing is missed free throws.
Milo missed a big free throw.
Yeah,
up 3, or a 1-on-1 chance to make it to go up 4. Didn't make it to go up 2. Then they came back, and I think Darren Williams hit that 3 after that. That was a tough sequence right there.
Yeah, this could have arguably say that this was Milo Zuzan's certainly up there when it comes to worst performances as a Cougar. Now, granted, that was a big opportunity there. He hits first end of the 1-and-1, makes it a 2-possession game, and maybe it's a different outcome for the Cougars. But just a lot of And there was a lot of fans exiting the arena that were really really unhappy with the officiating. But
Oh man, it was horrible. It was horrible.
but that
But they called
execution
it
down the
the.
stretch.
But at least they called it consistently on both ends. It
Yeah,
was horribly bad on both ends. So at
yeah.
least all you can say is they were consistent. And so, but man, just going back to Milo's, man, it was so many points in that game where I'm like, just be aggressive and attack. He's just settling for three, even looking to score, and he got his man off the dribble. He have him off balance, and he's bigger and stronger, but he didn't even have the will even looking to attack. Because one time he got inside and actually finished with the left with moments like that. That I'm sure when he watch film, I'm sure. I mean, they have to be telling him like, "Look, there's opportunity for you right there to attack." But man, he was not attacking. But and so that was frustrating watching him. I think I saw a comment earlier, and I would definitely agree with this. I mean, because just from when Malik should have been on the floor a lot more tonight, and really more and less Emmanuel Sharp. He wasn't himself. I mean, you could just tell he played some good defense in moments. He gave it his all, but the way Malik was playing, seeing the floor, passing the ball, getting to his spot, seemed like he was having a good game coming off the game that he had, and he sat on the bench for so long. Man, it's a lot to get into, but I think Milo's really had moments to really have a bigger impact on this game than what he had. That was the one of the frustrating things watching this game.
Yeah, and I think speaking about Emmanuel Sharp, it's clear that injury is still bothering him. And with Houston, the big injury now coming out of this game is with Javier Francis, who in the second half went down, and not entirely sure how it happened. It happened right in front of me where they crashed and went for the rebound, and mid-possession, mid-play, he just grabbed for the back of his thigh, felt pain, and he just went straight down, and he stayed down for a while, and the head athletic trainer, John Houston, was speaking with him. They had to aid him into the locker room with Adam Bishop, and he never came back to return for the game. So that's something that is definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. And when we're talking about this game, you mentioned Malik Wilson. Only 19 minutes in this game, and it seemed at times when Houston went on those offensive droughts that they were at their best, like you mentioned, Dayon, when they got penetration, and even if they didn't get all the way inside the paint and they would get stopped, they would have different guards to cut. I think Terrence Arsenault was one of the other players that played really well in this game because he was able to drive, and even if they stopped them short of the paint, he's a threat to rise up and shoot that mid-range jumper. But there was a couple of passes that he started, and then really it was pivotal when Houston made that run and eventually took the lead and built up that 6-point advantage that ultimately they weren't able to close.
And when they did that, they went to the 4-guard lineup, and it was so that lineup was so effective and impactful. I was wondering why he didn't stay with it. I mean, it was the way they had the floor spread, and the way they helped them get back in the game and take the lead and extend the lead. And then for some reason he went back to the two posts, and it just slowed the game down. Although able to stay with it, but like you said, when that lineup was on the floor with Terrence and Malik on the floor, and that 4-guard lineup with one big with J1, it was very effective. And I think defensively, they was in the bind because Terrence was more a bigger player, but just offensively, it helped him. So I was wondering why he didn't go back to that lineup. We would just leave Malik on the floor. Well, Terrence did play good, though. I really did. Like he moves so well without the basketball, his cutting, and just following ball and his timely cuts, makes himself available. But I really wanted to see a little bit more from him. Like I think it's to the point to where now you're healthy. Some of these moments, take your man. Like, do you got the it factor in you? Like, do you got it? And I want to see it. I mean, just as a fan, like he has moments and times where he has the ball in his hands, opportunity to go make a play, get a bucket, and we need him to do that. And so. But that 4-guy lineup was effective tonight. I was wondering why they didn't stay with it. But J1, man, hats off to J1, man.
Yeah,
I
this is
think
a
he
great
probably should have
play.
started with that. I mean, yeah, you can't fault him for his misses or his missed free throws. He made for someone who shoots nearly 50%. He made the key ones, but even more than that, he came back and played through injury, gutted it out, and gave it all he had. And he was very impactful, man. Shout out to J1 like that. He stepped up like he was supposed to. But LJ, he had such a good game from all three levels. I don't know why the ball wasn't in his hands for him to close the game.
Yeah.
That- That's what was so frustrating. I like, okay, you go to J1 once their bigs fouled out and he's able to get to the free throw line, but a couple of those last two times, it could be use him as a decoy, and they're in the bonus. Put the ball in your best free throw shooter's hands and tell him to get downhill. He was been able to get inside the paint pretty much throughout the game, coming off the stagger screen and getting the ball right there. That was so effective. I wanted to see the ball in LJ's hands, especially that the last play we went to J1 and he got to travel. I was like, okay, they're gonna go to LJ for sure on this one. And we didn't. We went back to J1, and no knock to J1 because he played great. So I definitely not mad at it, but I would have preferred, especially the last moments when they're in the bonus. I mean, LJ,
No.
and he had it going so much.
No, most definitely, especially like you said in this game where he was your best offensive player in this outing, just in terms of shooting wise. He shot 50% from the floor, and obviously when it comes to LJ Cryer, if he's able to draw fouls, you trust his ability to be able to knock down those free throws. And especially late down the stretch when it came to Houston had an opportunity to win it in regulation when it was tied 72 all, and they didn't go to LJ Cryer in that instance. And then, like you said, on the last shot that they had in their last full possession in overtime, I know Juwan Roberts had that heave at the end of the game, but it would have been interesting at least to get the ball in his hands, see how Tech guards them, and maybe trying to get some penetration. He can drop it down and create an open shot for Juwan Roberts, or maybe one of the other guards on the weak side. And now again, it seems like Kelvin Sampson has the confidence, and his go-to player currently is Juwan Roberts, and for good reason. He's earned it, especially with the performances that he's had over the course of the past 2 weeks. I mean, we just have to think back a week ago against Kansas and what he was able to do against Hunter Dickinson. But that's definitely something that obviously if we had a magic wand, we could go back in time. Maybe we do a little different in this game.
No, I definitely agree, and I definitely agree with Big Tech's comment as well. I think his free throw shooting, you have to factor that in the moments when you're giving it to him down the clutch, and he made the plays. So hats off to him, and he definitely is capable of making the plays. But those last two moments, LJ, I just would have preferred to have it in his hands, and like he had it going. He was in a good rhythm. He was making tough twos. That's how I could tell. Like he was in a good rhythm. He normally isn't making tough twos. They're like in the air, dumping, pumping, and making tough two shots, and just seeing the ball. Like he was in a great rhythm. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I trust Coach Sampson wholeheartedly, but I would question that one and wonder like why. And I was texting with Miles during the game. I'm like, he got to go back to Malik. And he went back to Malik probably with like a minute ago when I think Emmanuel maybe got another foul. But man, it was just watching that game. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough, but definitely with LJ. I mean, I don't know what it is. Even some of these moments, he just needs to be a little bit more aggressive too, because he has the balls and he has the opportunity. So now be aggressive and attack. Try to go get it. Versus just playing through the system, looking at it. Sometimes you gotta just go.
Most definitely. I will take this time to remind everybody and thank everybody that's watching us on this Saturday night. Obviously not the outcome that the Houston Cougars wanted in this game against Texas Tech. They fall to the Red Raiders 82-81, but we are the Let's Rage Cougs post-game show. We do it after each and every single men's basketball and football game, regardless of the outcome. And we'd like to say thank you to Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of today's edition of Let's Rage Cougs. And of course, We also like to say thank you to our secondary sponsor, and that is Star Pizza. With 3 locations throughout the Houston area, Star Pizza is your go-to stop before and after the game. And we like to say big thank you to Mike and Jennifer Pittman for, once again, sending a pizza post-game to the Fertitta Center. Now, unfortunately, this is the first time where we have pizza and the Cougars have lost. They rarely lose at home in Fertitta Center. That's the reason why. But we like to shout out Star Pizza. Go make sure if you're looking for a place to get some dinner, they're open until 10 o'clock. So be sure to stop at any one of their 3 locations or visit their all-you-can-eat lunch specials. And again, a big thank you to Mike and Jennifer Pittman for feeding Kris and I and a lot of the other people inside of the Fertitta Center after this game. That being said, this is a great point by Crabtree. Texas Tech's offensive philosophy, you got to tip your cap to Texas Tech because some of their players hit some really, really tough shots. And they are phenomenal, skilled players. There was an instance in the first half where their handles were absolutely they were great. There was the ankle breaker that they had on Milo Zuzan, which when that happened and they buried the 3-point on top of that, the Texas Tech bench lost it, and they got up for that, and the contingent of the Texas Tech fans that were at Fertitta Center. But give credit to Tech because a lot of those shots were
their guards. I play Houston guards, no question.
Most definitely, but there was also a lot of those shots where there was a Houston player contesting that shot, and it's still they still were able to hit them. And again, kudos to the Red Raiders, but I think that's a great point, Dayon. They absolutely had much better offensive games compared to Houston's guards outside of LJ Cryer.
Yeah, they definitely did. I think just overall as a guard group, their group I played Houston guards, and I agree with Chris's point the way he just made Kris B. But man, and it was simply just hooping. Like when you got the ball up top, ISO, man, that's what was so frustrating with Milo's because he has the smallest court, and you could tell he's not a defender. He's jumping, trying to jump the screens, and Milo got him off balance where he got an angle to attack, but wouldn't attack. But I mean, Tech guards, they came and they hooped. They made tough shots, timely shots. I mean, they came and they outplayed Houston guards. And the way to beat Houston, whether you're at home or on the road, you got to make threes. And they was able to do that. They was getting them up and they was shooting them. And I mean, and they was able to get by the first line of defense, but Houston was still able to rotate and keep helping the helper and rotate and forcing them to move the ball. Some of those times they moved and still got a good shot of offense possession. You shake their hand, okay, good shot. But the defense was still good. Their offense, I mean, they made tough shots. And really, and when they do that, that's okay. But I think just offensively, Houston games like this is who has that dog from the guard, like who can go get it. And I didn't see it. I think Malik has it. I don't know if he has the capability with the mindset. I could tell he got it.
Yeah, and again, a big question mark, or at least a big issue that Houston has to deal with going forward is Emmanuel Sharp and how hampered he is with that ankle. Milo Zuzan, like we mentioned earlier, obviously not one of his better performances as a Cougar in this game against Texas Tech. Now, when we talk about where the battle was lost, we mentioned late game execution, specifically free throw shooting, but this game was a little weird when you look at the stats. Dayon, and you brought up a great point about the Red Raiders and kind of the recipe to be able to beat Houston. You have to be able to hit a lot of threes. And when you look at this stat, Houston actually had 10 more field goal attempts than Texas Tech, but the Red Raiders shot more than half, more than double of 3-pointers. They shot 33s in this game. They hit 12 of them compared to Houston, who only shot 14 threes, only hit 5 of them. And the old adage 3 is better than 2. It kind of showcases it was a very interesting game from that standpoint. And again, going back to what we mentioned earlier, you tip your cap to a lot of the Texas Tech players for being able to rise up and bury contested threes. but I think from the jump, there was just an intensity and energy about Texas Tech that you could see it from their bench, from every shot.
They wanted to prove it.
And they did not get it was a great crowd in the Fertitta Center. They were not fazed by it at all. They were locked in and they were able to execute. And even when Houston went on a run and created some separation, they were not fazed by it. And I think that's something that, again, it's just a big testament to Texas Tech for what they were able to come in here and do against a Houston Cougars team that obviously was on a big winning streak, both at home. They rarely lose here inside of the Fertitta Center. And just overall, going back to last season when it comes to Big 12 conference opponents. On that note,
how you fellas doing?
We're doing great, Kris.
Let me y'all can bring in Fluff too. I want to share it. I don't know if y'all have already mentioned it, but during the game, I received text messages and it has been confirmed that Alvin Franklin from Phi Slamma Jamma, Alvin Franklin, died today, passed away today.
Wow. Wow.
Alvin had he suffered a stroke.
21. Number 21.
Yep. Last summer. He had been in rehab, trying to, get better. And he succumbed to the stroke today and he passed away. So
condolences to his family.
Indeed, condolences to his family. And so I say all that to let everyone know, once a Cougar, always a Cougar. We are Cougars. Alvin Franklin is a Cougar. And it puts everything in perspective. This is a hell of a game today. Texas Tech, Cougs. Cougs could have won.
Sorry about my little guy.
Cougs could have won, but Tech in the first half was more aggressive. They bashed the Cougs on the boards because they were tougher. Coach Sampson said it in post-game that was the thing that disappointed him the most, was that the tougher team won. And it's not often that the Cougs are not the tougher team in a matchup. But today, Texas Tech won. You can talk about free throw shooting and all these different kind of things. Milos Uzan missed the front of a 1-and-1. So you can talk about the refs did this, refs did that, blah, blah, blah. The Cougs are up 5. Los had a chance to put him up 7, and he missed. So
no, I think we were up 3. We were up 3. And I think we were up 3, and he could have put us up 5. If he would have made it. Yeah.
So
also
then they missed it and they made it 3.
Go ahead, Fluff.
Well, also I think that I think the guards were Milligan and whatever the two guards, I can't get their names right, but at one point
Hawkins and McMillan.
Hawkins and McMillan or Milligan, I think they got off into a great start, and then we held them, we held them down, and then the guy Williams, he started getting going, and I think that's what kind of, we usually don't let guards get off on us, you know what I mean? And I think that was a big part of, what I'm saying, like it's just us being in a struggle game like that.
Their guards outplayed our guards.
Yes, no doubt. And I mean, we all saw it.
Exception of LJ.
It was 1-on-1. That was Texas offense. ISO out high and pick a guard. And now sometimes they beat the Cougs off the dribble, not a lot, but they hit some tough step back threes too, as well. And that's part, that's the thing, Fluff. And I say this, I did not play, especially in level like Fluff did, but that's the one thing about the tournament is it's one and done. You go against a team that gets hot, you can lose like Tech. Tech made 12 threes today. Season high against the Cougs, 12 threes today.
And we can't shoot 65, 66% from the free throw line.
Right.
And you see it all the time, like even in practice, sometimes when you guys go through practice, it's the most boring part of the practice, but it's so big, that we got to get that under control too, because if we make maybe 5 more free throws. You know what I mean? We win the game. It's easy to say that after you lose a dogfight, but you know what I mean. We shot about 43, 44% from the field. We usually do a little better than that, but I think it's a learning experience, and I think that you know we seen this a couple years ago. You know what I mean? You win so many in a row, man. We got to get some type of heartbreak maybe before we,
Yeah,
really get into the swing of things of trying to win this whole thing.
yeah,
What you
and
think about some of those calls down the stretch? Would you want to see it more in LJ's hands?
thank you. That's what I was
That's what
going
I was
down.
thinking.
I wanted to ask that. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, LJ, LJ has 20 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. I think he ends with like 26, 4 and 3, something like that. I mean,
22.
I want 22, whatever it is. I want live and die with LJ. I want live and die with for sure. But I think that's something that they adjust to. Those guys are amazing. I think they'll adjust to it and figure it out. You know what I mean? I hope Roberts is okay. Um, I hope, really I was texting Kris and I was saying, I see him coming back into the game, but if I'd rather him be healthy and be ready to go when it's time to be ready to go. So if he has to sit a couple,
yeah.
that'd be good too.
And let me answer this real quick comment to Flatlander's show. Oh, no, no, no. The Tech 12 3 points made is an opponent's high against the Cougs. I don't know about what it is for Tech, but the previous high against the Cougs was 11. I think Bama did it one. Bama did it, and somebody else did it 11. But Tech hitting 12 threes was the most against the Cougs this season.
Wow.
And a lot of them were tough too. I mean, they were contested.
No. Them guys could boogie. Those guys could boogie. They could boogie. They definitely could boogie for sure. For sure. But we'll see him. If we do see him again, we'll see him again.
It was a competitive battle, and I try to put my media hat on and be objective. This was a hell of a game. My friends texted me and asked me if this was the best game so far inside Fertitta Center. This was a great game.
It was a dog fight. I texted Dayon and said, this is a dog fight.
Yeah, man. And so it was great. Disappointing the Cougs didn't win, but I'd rather them lose in February 1st than April 7th, whatever that Monday is. So
Right.
Fluff, turn your phone sideways. It'll be full screen.
Oh, okay. Come on, man. School me, man. I don't know about the media thing, man. I'm new, man.
There it is.
I'm a rookie, man. I'm a rookie, man. Get me together.
But Juwan, the ankle bothered him. You could see he made him.
Man, he gutted it out, man.
He gutted it out.
He got it going late after.
He got it going late.
After that.
But I don't know.
He started grabbing board.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know how much they'll swell up on him tonight and tomorrow.
Right. Well, yeah.
Tuesday turnaround is kind of quick, so I don't know how it's going to be for him, impact him on Tuesday's game. But Fluff, I want to get your thoughts on this because I thought about this, and who was it? Mr. Big Texco or someone asking about the Cougs. Here we go. I didn't like it when they switched and had the guard on the big man in the post instead of switching back. Quick to have the guard back on the guard on the perimeter, because there were some times when you had Juwan out there stuck on the island with the guards, boogieing for Texas Tech, and that was a problem sometimes. First half, it was more when Tech just stood to the big in the post, being guarded by Los or Emmanuel Sharp or LJ, whoever. I just don't like the opponent match. Match depends on the matchup of you switching and not getting back to your regular man.
Well, for me, I think this, and it sounds so regular and just so cliche from a defensive standpoint, but really, if you really think about it, and me talking as a former guard, is that a lot of guys that have to step back and have the moves off the dribble to make the 3-point shot, they don't really like to shoot under the screen. So I think that if we go under the screen more, go under, get back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if they can shoot it right under. Because sometimes when you go over, when you're chasing over the screen or maybe a switch or whatever it is, it gives the guard a rhythm.
It
gives the guard a rhythm to get the moving and grooving and getting into their move or whatever they want to do. When it's straight under, it's like, can you really? You almost have to work on that to be able to shoot under the screen. So I like under the screen push up, or you know what I'm saying, under the screen, even with a little hard hedge and the guard push back up. You know what I mean? But like, I think it's different. I think it's different coverages for different guards. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Agree. Yeah.
I think these guards tonight they were hot. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's different coverages. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we should have adjusted to that a little bit, but I'm sure they will adjust. If we see these guys again.
And this was this is what game 20. What is it?
21
21
Yep.
for the Cougs.
Mhm.
This was Milos Uzan's worst game of his 21 so far. He was aggressive a lot, but the turnovers, he was aggressive with his shot, but his turnovers were when he stopped being aggressive. He gave it up too much, picked up the dribble too many times.
He wasn't aggressive to score, though, like to get inside the paint. That's what's frustrating watching him.
He gave up the dribble too many times.
Guarding him.
Yeah,
like you got him off balance with the wop. Now attack the angle.
Side to
he
side.
did it once and created with the left, and then after that, once you got him, he don't even look to attack or drive. It's like he's like a system quarterback. Is the best way that I can put it. He just can get you into the offense. He can, man. He should have had a better. If he'd have had a more aggressive mindset to attack, especially the smaller guard that was guarding him. He could have had a better offensive game. He was just settling, letting them off balance, letting them off the hook, was just settling some of his threes instead of attacking and trying to score and trying to create tech. We definitely need Emmanuel Sharp at full strength. You just look, we made 5 threes, 5 of 14, and Cryer made 3 of those. Emmanuel only took 1, and that's because he wasn't on the floor. So if we have him at least taking his 6 to 8, he gonna make 3 or 4 of those. It's a different game, and so we need him at full strength. But Milos, he doesn't look to attack enough for me when I'm watching him.
Well, I think we're spoiled. I think we're spoiled.
Yes,
we're spoiled, bro. Like we're used to right now, like just going over these past 6 or 7 years or 5 years. We're used to Grimes, we're used to Sasser, we're used to Shea,
Jerome.
We're used to, even Cryer now, like because I don't think Cryer gets enough credit for when he brought last year. He was in the mix last year. He was a dog last year. So like I think we're used to that aggressive guard that is always just seeing what's going on all the time, like as far as what they could get done. So I think he's a different type of guard. You know what I mean? I think we're not used to seeing this type of guard for our Cougs. And I think, at some point it'll benefit us. But, maybe he's a facilitator. You know what I mean? If he's a facilitator and maybe we run Cryer off for some more handoffs and some more double screens and pin downs, you know what I mean? Then, he could do his job. And, he's a bigger guard, so maybe he could defend. Yeah. He does defend, 1, 2, or 3. So, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's really just a facilitator. So,
I'll toss this.
I wanted to see Malik more.
I like Malik played well, especially defensively, but I wonder if Sharp getting in foul trouble, Sharp not being 100%, which we all see. If Los took some of the shots that Sharp would take if he were healthier and not in foul trouble.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because other than the 3-point kick, passes from the post, the kickouts to Los, those really the only threes I like him taking. Are those kind of threes, and then
I agree. Kris,
attacking the basket.
I'm trying to be diplomatic, but I
no.
I
on
agree.
This show, man. On this show, speak truth, man.
This is my second show. Second show.
You'll get to use hang how we talk, man. It's all good.
Okay. I'm getting there. But I agree with you. I like to get it when I want him to shoot it when he's sure that he might can make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean, for sure.
Because he took like 2 or 3 step backs. And I'm like,
I'm like, oh, you feeling good?
That's not your shot.
Yo, I almost went into Pat Ewing on him. I almost started acting like Pat Ewing. I don't know if y'all remember that clip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When he said,
What kind of shot is that?
yeah, I be doing that to my kids when I'm coaching them. I'm like, yo, my man, listen, I be in practice with you. Why you doing that? I never
Yeah.
seen you work on that. And then when he did it, I was like, man, that's somebody over there, gold wire. Somebody over there got to tell him, like, yo, you never asked me to work on that one though. Like, if we was working on that, then you know what I'm saying, I can respect it, but you know.
Yeah, that's different. And we joke about it. We talked about it on the previous show, but it carries weight because this is Los's first year with Coach Sampson. He's still building that trust, and vice versa, because Jamal Shed was with Coach for 4 years. Jamal Shed had that trust, as Fluff said in the previous show, where he could tell Coach, "No, Coach, we're not running that play. Okay, this is what we're going to do."
He built that.
You know, Los is not there yet. He's 21 games into his career with Coach Sampson, so that's going to take him more time to get used to all that. Coach has said in Zoom calls with us and before practice, after practice, that he would like to see Malos be more aggressive with his shot. I'm not sure if step back threes are the shot he wants him to take. But
him and Sampson gonna have a conversation tonight.
So yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those turnovers he had were just not they were out of character. This is his first time all season to have 4 turnovers. That's not bad for 21 games in a year.
When he watched this film, I know he's gonna see those times where he could attack the guard and get inside the paint. Like, there was too many opportunities from him to be able to do that. And one of the times, whether he make it or not, he attacked, and you know what, it led to an offensive rebound.
Yeah.
So some of the times it ain't even about him making it. Just get a shot up. That's that's Houston's best opportunity. Best shot is the second shot.
Yeah,
so
get a shot rather than
just
do a jump pass away.
Let us give us a chance to get the offensive rebound and put back. And one of the times it led to a tip dunk. So some of it, I don't want him to be an excellent finisher but at least get inside, break down the defense and get it up or do. But yeah, man, they're gonna definitely have a conversation.
But yeah,
but the way Malik was this was one of the games. I think Malik should have played a little more. I think he's one of those players. And he's so sure of himself. He can get inside the paint, get to a spot, athleticism. Yeah, like he know what. And you could tell when it's time to let's hoop. He ready. Like he's ready. Like
I've been watching for a couple games. He a dog.
He one of them.
And
like
he's
ready.
One of them.
Yeah, he gets after defensively too. And he crashed the
board.
Yo,
we in the trenches. Let's make it happen. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, for sure.
But let me touch on this. Kris B right here. Talk about Los making those step back threes. Just because he made them in one game does not mean he can do it on a consistent basis. He might have the fool's goal. Say, hey, I made them last week. I could do it. Nope. Doesn't mean it's your shot because you did it, one in one game. And like Fluff said,
I think that was Kris B that just said that.
Yeah.
Well, Kris, I'll say this, man. Listen, you know, and it's all love, and this is from a guy who loved to step back, you know what I'm saying? That's something that you show your coaches. I do at least once or twice a game for makes. You know what I mean? Like, you do that once or twice a game for makes. And if you off, you do it, you know what I'm saying? You 1 for 4, 1 for 5 on your move. So I think that's what we're saying, Kris. You're definitely right. You hit him against Kansas. But we got to be more, we got to see it more. And, we're not at practice. Well, I don't know how, I know Kris goes by, but, that's something that you got to prove to the coaches day in, day out.
I want to get your thoughts on this comment that TI 7791 is touching on, but it seems like he's not sold on a too big lineup. And depending on the health status of Javier Francis, what do you guys think about how Houston looked whenever they had a 4-guard lineup in this game? Like Dayon mentioned earlier,
it was very effective.
They had a 4-game. Yep, they had that 4-game lineup down the stretch when they rallied and took the lead in that second half.
I'll let Dayon go first because we touched on it earlier, but I definitely agree with him. But you could go ahead and break it down how you want to.
No, I think it was effective. I think it also gives the guards a little bit more space. It gives LJ a little bit more space when he's coming off the pin downs or coming off the curl screens. Now he has even a little bit more room, or whoever the guard is. And then it puts Terrence when he's on the floor most of the time. And he does a great job of moving without the basketball, timely cuts, and kind of shadowing the basketball. I like the 4-guard lineup. I think it just depends on the matchup, but most teams aren't running 2 bigs anyway. But this team had a bigger player with Dayon Williams on the defensive end. Terrence was having to guard him, and they was having to try to double. But on the offensive end, I like how it was being effective tonight.
And let me touch on this. Talk about free throws. As a team, it goes back to what Coach Sampson says. It depends on who's shooting them. JoJo was 1 for 4. All right. Juan was 6 for 9. LJ was 5 for 6. If you flip that around, it's LJ and Emmanuel Sharp shooting those free throws, then they're probably, instead of being 7 for 13, they're probably 11 for 13. So it depends on who's shooting those free throws. But we all joke about it. There was one game this year, Javier Francis was a perfect 6 for 6 from the free throw line. So you just never know with this team what's going to happen from at the foul line. Because real talk, when Juwan Roberts, when coach was going to him down the stretch, I was concerned he's going to make us miss free throws. I was like, he's not going to make this. You know, he was 6 for 9. I thought he'd be like 4 for 9.
Yeah, that was good.
He tied the game up at overtime, but he missed free throws. So it's all a part of that. And I'm old. Some folks older than me, Cougar alums, say it's in the water. Cougs and free throw shooting has been a problem. It's part of our history here at the University.
It is, man. As a team. Yeah.
So, but it depends on who shoots the free throws. But typically, you'd want your guards to shoot the free throws. But Milos Uzan, that front end of the 1-on-1, you'd want him at the line. He didn't make it, and it came back to hurt the Cougs.
I'll say this, just to go back a little bit on Dayon's point about the 4-guard lineup. This is what we have to understand is why I agree with him, and I like the 4 perimeter players. Is this: if you look at the game tonight, and you look at any game that we're gonna play in, or if you even look at Duke and North Carolina tonight, whatever game is going on, I mean, how many guys really have work in the post?
Right.
So there's not many guys in the country, period, who have real work in the post, like real shimmies and real, drop shoulders, fades. Like, we're like, yo, we can't guard him down here. So, I think what Sampson is thinking is like, yo, if we sit in front of the big, or, you know what I'm saying, and we got help on the weak side, if they don't catch and it's a clear, I'm talking on defensively, if they don't catch and it's a clear layup, we could defend because guys don't really have moves on the block.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, I agree with what Dayon is saying about the small lineup, because it's like you saying too, Kris, like we got to be able to, have the best opportunity to make those free throws down the stretch. And that's why usage rate is so big, because you might have a better crossover or better in and out, whatever move you think you have. But if you're not a good free throw shooter, we kind of need it in the hands of the guys who could really make those throws. So, like I told you guys the other night or last night, the other night, Crier, man, you know what I mean? Like, and down the stretch, man, that kid needs to have the ball like last 5-6 minutes of the game. It almost needs to solely be in his hand for the last 5-6 minutes of the game, like for sure. Maybe seven, depending on what's.
And they was in the bonus, so even more reason to have the ball in his hands.
And I'm comment on JG's comment about, I guess
Can we move the star piece of logo?
I don't know if we can move it live. Andy's got the touch.
But I mean, I don't care about my name, so they can do it.
Yeah, not live.
Okay.
But where is it? I missed a comment somewhere.
The defense.
It definitely won't be enough against the cream of the crop teams in ISO where they aren't 90% ISO on offense. Where they aren't 90% ISO on offense. I think the issue is there are teams, and we've said it in many of the games that the Cougs have lost, the handful they've lost in the last 5 years. Dan has touched on it on these post-game shows. It's because the opponent, in many of those cases, is a hell of a one-on-one player and gets buckets one-on-one. That's basketball. Okay. The shots that Texas Tech made, most of those shots, those step back threes, had a hand in the face. Those were contested shots. It wasn't like these were just blow by layups. They took and made tough shots. There are shots that the Cougs make that are tough shots. You tip your hat to the opponent sometimes, folks. It's not like the Cougs lost to some team at the Y. Okay.
Right.
Texas Tech made some tough ass shots tonight. And the thing about the tournament, I go back to it. It's one and done. If the Cougs get hot in the tournament, they can win 6 in a row. If the Cougs run into a team that's hot that one night, they could lose. But that's the beauty and the curse of March Madness. Give credit to Texas Tech. That first half on the board, rebounding, they took it to the Cougs. Didn't have anything to do with ISO ball, all that kind of stuff. If the Cougs would have done a better job rebounding in the first half, maybe this game doesn't go to overtime. So pick and choose what you want to talk about battle, but give the opponent credit. They play too. They compete too. And the shots they made were hand in the face. Coach Sampson even said in post game, he thought some of the threes that Tech made, the Cougs fouled them on. That's how tough the defense was on those shots. And the fouls weren't called. Hey, it's part of the game. I mean, we can talk about Emmanuel Sharp. 2 of his 3 fouls. Late in the shot clock. Coach Sampson pointed to, he did this. Emmanuel, you got to be smarter. Yeah. There were like 3 or 4 times the Cougs fouled Tech late in the shot clock.
Well, I think the fouls too, though, Chris. I think the fouls was about 23-12, 22-12.
It was. Don't get me wrong. There were some calls that I didn't agree with. Nope. Right.
I get what you're saying, but it's like we're at home. 22-12 is. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I thought the refs they were in over their heads.
You know what I mean? Like
I go back to it. I don't believe
the beginning of the game. Like that was
Toppin deserved to be kicked out. Yeah. That wasn't a flagrant 2 foul. No.
Come on, man. Like
come on now. He jumping up to throw the ball, and he jumps up, leaps up, leg goes, and he hits Tugler in his area. That hurts men all the time. That wasn't no flagrant 2 foul. That wasn't on purpose.
Right. That was not intentional.
Come on. That wasn't intentional.
And sometimes when they do that, now they're trying to make up all game for a wrong decision that they made.
Right.
So now they're trying to make it up, and somebody got to suffer. You know what I mean? From that. So that's where it gets deep. You know what I mean? Like, but
And Coach Sampson said the tougher team won today.
They did.
So for the Texas Tech fans watching
was a tougher team.
Right.
There was a tougher team today.
Right. And that's the disappointing thing that Coach Sampson said. He's not worried about the officiating, worried about this, that, and the other. He was disappointed in the fact that the Cougs they got out toughed today. They're going to have to adjust to that. But everybody, 10 games in the Big 12, the Cougs are 9-1.
Exactly.
They're not going to be undefeated. LJ and Juan said, as players, I admire their confidence. He said, we thought we'd go undefeated. In the Big 12, hell no. That's not going to happen. But I admire your confidence. But
on a sidebar, and I wasn't going to say it, but I wasn't thinking it until you just said it, Chris. But to be saying that the University of Houston is 9-1 in the Big 12 is like a good adjustment for me. Meaning like, you're like Big 12. Like, when you think Big 12, you're thinking of the history of the Big 12. And for you to just say it real smooth like that, like we're 9-1 in the Big 12. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like we didn't used to be in a different type of conference. Like, you know what I mean? Like AA or whatever, and Conference USA. No disrespect. No disrespect. But like, for you to you said that very smoothly, Chris, like, we're 9-1 in the Big 12. It just hit, Chris, it just hit me like.
No, I get what you're saying.
So that's just smooth to you like that? Like, that sounds good. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's a great adjustment to what they're doing right now.
Yes.
9-1 in the Big 12. You know what I mean? That puts it in perspective of we lost by 1 point tonight, but we're
And
9-1 in the
according
Big
to
12.
the fans, didn't play well. We got weaknesses on offense. We got all kinds of problems, all this, that, and the other. Lost by 1 point today, and 9-1 in the Big 12. I'll take that all day, every day.
All day. Hey,
All day.
I won't tell nobody else. But I'll take 7-3 too, or 8-2, 8-2. But we're gonna go 9-1. We'll take 9. We're gonna stay with 9-1
because
right now.
I mean, as Fluff touched on it, I mean, this is kind of some shade. This is not the American. This is not Conference USA.
It is. We're all Coogs.
Right, we're all Coogs.
We're all Coogs, so we could never be playing each other. We're all Coogs.
Previous years,
I'm a former
people
player.
complained about. Well, I wish we were in the Big 12. You know, who are we playing? Who? Well, hell, we're in the Big 12 now. We're 9-1 in the Big 12. I mean,
yo, talking, Kris.
Hey, coming off an 18-game winning streak in the Big 12.
Yeah, the second longest ever in the
second
longest in the conference.
No, I know about that. No, listen, I'm around all the time. I'm just getting on with you guys, but it just hit me crazy the way Kris said that like that. Like it messed me up. Like,
yeah,
Kris, you're just talking regular. You're like, yo, we're 9-1 in the Big 12. Like, we're doing well. We're doing well.
You know, Cougs might end up 17-3 in the Big 12. Think about that. 17-3 in the Big 12. I'd take that.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love 19-1, but that's not likely. Okay. But folks, this team,
listen. We got, and we talked about this last show, but man, like I'm saying about Roberts, I want to be healthy going into this tournament.
Yes.
Because you guys look at me when I say this, I mean this. I think we were robbed of a national championship last year. And you guys might think we couldn't have finished, but I don't think UConn could have beat us. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. But
so,
see,
like,
I'll flip it around like
be
this.
Healthy.
That's it. That's my concern when Juan rolled his ankle.
Yeah.
When JVA took the blow to his face and Emmanuel Sharp's not healthy. I'm like,
Miles.
I'm like, oh my gosh, the injuries are coming now. I'm like, oh no, the injuries are coming again. So just get healthy. Be as healthy as possible come tournament time. And then let's see if they can get those 6 straight wins. Let's go with that.
That's all we need is 6, Kris?
Yep. Come the NCAA tournament.
We need Ramon back. We do need help. We need bodies.
I forgot about Ramon. Yeah, Ramon. Got to get Ramon healthy.
Yeah,
he's getting there.
Healthy too. Yep.
But, you know, and his hard and hustle and defense and physicality against certain teams is missed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all that.
Another thing is, when are we going to, tonight's game was just tricky because, like, when are we going to give up 80 points like that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's part of give Texas Tech credit.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
They made some tough shots. And it's rare for the Cougs to give up that many points. Texas Tech did a good job on their turnovers. They didn't have many turnovers. They only had 13. And it was still an overtime game. Cougs lost by 1. Came down. Next opponent is Oklahoma State on Tuesday. Home game for the Cougs. And then at Colorado.
They in trouble. They gotta take all this.
Yeah. You do not want to be the Cowboys.
Listen. They gotta take all this frustration we got. When we see them on Tuesday, man, we're gonna be back rolling. It's all good.
And see, that's the thing. Colorado is not playing well. They're struggling in the Big 12 in their return to the Big 12. It's at Colorado, so it's a road game. And another thing, the Cougs, if they win Tuesday and then beat Colorado, they're 11-1 in the Big 12 and 6-0 on the road in the Big 12. Is that right? That's right. Aren't they 5-0 on the road? I think that's Think about all that. and we got people complaining about, man, oh, we'd have done this or we don't do enough of this. And it's weird how these things only come out when the Cougs lose. the offense isn't good. The offense was great for a lot of this game this year. But real talk, Coach Sampson said it. The Cougs could have lost at UCF.
Yeah.
Okay. They could have lost at Kansas.
Yep.
But they didn't. They're still 9-1. They have not played their best basketball, and I hope they don't until when, Dayon? Until April 7th.
April. I was just looking at the numbers again. We had 27 second chance points, and it kind of goes back to my point. Is sometimes the best shot for Houston, Coach Sampson says, it's the second shot. It's a second chance point. So I think just our guards got to find a way to get the ball inside, get it on the rim to give our rebounders a chance to get some
Fluff. Well, Fluff is being a dad, but as a coach, he's a coach now. But as a player, Fluff. But as a coach now,
yeah,
doesn't it just piss you off if you have a person jump in the air and not know what they're going to do with the ball? Like, are you going to shoot it? Are you going to pass it? Because you study long, you study wrong, And Milos jumped in the air and just come on now.
I hate it. I hate it. And I used to do it, but I think it's from. I think before the ball, touches your hands, or before you make a decision to be aggressive, there has to be a scan of the floor. And if you scan before you catch and you scan before you drive or you be aggressive, you would know where guys would be open or where you're going to be open at or where the weak side is going to be open or strong side. You know what I mean? So I think, that should just be a point of emphasis. But, they young kids, man, they going to do it sometime, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it. We just hope it's not at the wrong time.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's it. But it definitely drives me crazy, Chris.
And sure. Milos is coming off a Big 12 Player of the Week. And these last two games have not been his best. Okay. Get out your system, young fella. And be ready to come March and April.
Yeah.
And if you're and folks who are new to me, new to this show, new to following the Houston Round Bar Review, whatever, all this positivity that's coming from me is kind of rare because I'm a pretty pessimistic old head. But I believe in this team, and I believe this team still has a great chance to win the chip.
For sure.
And I'm not worried about losing it February 1st by 1 point in overtime. What, the Cougs lost 4 times, and 2 of those in overtime, Andy? Or was it 3?
Yep. They lost to
San Diego State.
It's only San Diego State was overtime, and now this one. Auburn came close, but it did not go overtime, I believe. And same with Alabama.
So close losses 4 times. Fix little tweaks here and there. And I love to go to the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. But if I can't go, I'd rather be with the Cougs in San Antonio, acting ignorant, acting with Fluff, being with Andy and Dayon, making
the Final Four is in San Antonio?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Wow, I played in I got MVP too. I played in the NABC. You know how they got the Final Four game?
Yep.
For the seniors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the last time I was at the Final Four was 08. And the Final Four was in San Antonio. And of course I drove from Houston to San Antonio. So
yeah.
That the Riverwalk is overrated, but it's okay. You know what I mean? Well, we'll be there, Chris. We'll be there.
I've already been approved got the credential and everything, so I'm just wait on the Cougs to get there.
No doubt. No doubt.
Chris, to go back to your point about the 4 losses for Houston, 3 of those 4 losses have come to overtime. The Alabama game did go to overtime as well.
So there we go. 3 of the 4 in overtime. People. I mean, good grief. Cougs in the Big 12, winning in the Big 12, lost 3 games in overtime. There were games they won that they, could have lost.
Yes.
But 10 games left in Big 12 regular season play. I'm looking forward to. I love the competition of the Big 12. Win or lose, y'all know it. I'm a Coug till I die. So I love the Cougs, but they're not gonna win every game. Okay, let's get that out of our
Yeah,
system.
we're gonna lose some time.
But we're going to be here after every game and talk about the Cougs, win or lose, on these Let's Rage Cougs shows. Join us for this ride because we're going to keep riding as long as the Cougs play.
That's right. That's right.
I think that'd be a great point to once again first thank everyone that's taking the time out of their Saturday night to join us here on this edition of Let's Reach Cougs. We have a good amount of people tuning in from X, so welcome in. Like Kris said, it was the first time they've ever tuned into Let's Reach Cougs. We do this after each and every single men's basketball game, and we will be back on Tuesday night following Houston and Oklahoma State. Which will be another home game from inside the Fertitta Center. But of course, we'd like to say thank you to Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of this edition of Let's Rage Cougs and each and every single episode of Let's Rage Cougs. We also like to say thank you to our secondary sponsor, and that is Star Pizza with 3 locations throughout the Houston area. Star Pizza is your go-to stop before or after the game. Be sure to check them out online at starpizza.net or on social media at Star Pizza HOUVAX or Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. And once again, Kris, you need to come get your slice. But a big thank you.
I'm coming to get some pizza. I'm coming to get a whole box.
Big thank you to Mike and Jennifer Pittman for sending some pizza after the game. And we talked about streaks that were broken. Obviously, Houston came into this game with a 33 home winning streak going back to January 2023. They had won 18 straight conference games in the Big 12 regular season conference games. This is the first time that we have Star Pizza after a loss. So that is another.
They had won 13 in a row as well. So, yeah.
So that is another. So big thank you to them. Kris, I have a question for you. Was anything talked about in terms of Javier Francis and his health status?
I thought about asking him the question post game, but I realized that he just gave me "I'm all right" answer. Seeing after it ended, he walked okay. Saw him in the hallway. He walked okay, but again, tonight when he sleeps on it, will it swell up on him? How will it look on Sunday? He's a tough dude. Y'all know he's a tough dude. So I mean, he's gonna. If he can go, he'll go Tuesday. Oklahoma State. Is it necessary for him to play? But clearly, John Houston, Fluff knows, John Houston will not allow.
Houston is the best in the business.
He is a shaman.
John Houston
if he
is
believes
the best
Juan
in
can play,
the
he'll play. Period. So I trust John Houston more than anything.
And one thing about John that's so great about John is he doesn't let you sit around for nothing. Meaning like not about like, oh, we're trying to win a national championship or whatever. Of course, that's what we're trying to do. And that's also on his mind also. But at the same time, sometimes things linger without the rehab. So one thing that John is going to do is John is going to make sure that he gets in there 2 or 3 times a day and rehab and do the things that he has to do to get back on the floor. You know what I mean? He's not going to let him just, sit and say, okay, in 3 days or whatever, I'm going to be ready. Just me knowing John like a book, John is going to have him in there, bucket of ice, whatever he got to do to get back ready. So shouts to John Houston, best in the business.
Yeah, agreed. Well put, sir. I guess Dayon had to leave early. So Andy, you want to do it, or want Fluff to do it, or I'll do it when we wrap it up?
The closeout.
Yep.
Yeah,
close
we
out
can
like this, hand out like this, hand out.
We could do it. There's one question that Chris B asked is for you, Fluff. What have you seen of LJ? And when it comes to his ISO, he says he believes he has the ability, but in his opinion, he lacks change of pace dribbling and can't create separation with his dribbling.
I think sometimes he's just thinking too much. You know what I mean? I think he does have the potential to make those plays, obviously, but I think sometimes it's premeditated of what he wants to do. I think if he would just, create more of instincts, I think that, that'd be even greater for him. But I think he has the ability. I think he just has to believe a little more in his ability to make those things happen.
And Fluff, you add to this. For LJ, Emmanuel, specifically LJ, when LJ comes off those curls, it's a great pin down, whatever. As soon as he catches the ball, his man is on his hip. in jail. So he should just make a move and either finish at the hoop or whatever. Go ahead.
Well, you're never in jail, and when you got the ball, this might sound like the corniest thing ever, but you can never be in jail with the ball because the defender never knows what you're gonna do.
Right.
So I think when he's coming off the curl to really be catching left, right, or catching on two, or catching right, left, catching on two, without, catching and putting it on the floor so quick. You know what I mean? Like, catch it, see what's going on first, and then, a pick might be coming, or I might jab this way, go the other way, you know what I mean? But sometimes I think he's catching it and he's putting the ball on the floor a little too quick.
Too quick,
And
okay.
then now that's where jail comes. That's where the jamming from the defense comes, because now they're like, okay, I got you, and they know that it's a system and it's an offense that's being ran. You know what I mean? So I think he was a little more patient on the catch. I think he'll be even better. But he was great tonight. For me, he was great tonight.
Yeah. Well, I think on that note, we can close things down for this edition of Let's Rage Cougs. Again, big thank you to each and every single person that took their time out of their Saturday night to join us. Following the 6th-ranked Houston Cougars' 81-82 loss to the 22-ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders. LJ Cryer, like we just discussed, led Houston in scoring with 22 points, 4 rebounds. Jawan Roberts had 18 points and 7 rebounds. Milo Zuzan, 10 points, 2 assists, 4 turnovers in the loss. The Cougars will return to action inside the Fertitta Center on Tuesday night against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And, of course, we also like to say thank you to Steve Saxenian and Mike and Jennifer Pittman with Star Pizza for being sponsors on today's edition of Let's Rage Cougs. Kris, I'll toss it over to you. Any final thoughts? And where can people find you, sir?
Appreciate it, and glad Fluff was able to join us again. And when it fits his schedule, he'll join us more throughout the season. So everyone, I heard plenty of people, reach out to me and say how much they love Fluff on the show. His first appearance.
Fluff, you have you already have fans. Let me see.
Folks remember you from your hooping days, but they love your insight and your passion and love for the program. We thank you for your support. And to the Texas Tech fans, I think we had some Tech fans chime in. I hope you went. I'm being serious here. No shade here. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for your comments. We love the Cougars, but I love the Big 12. I love basketball, so I'm gonna give credit. I'm gonna give credit when it's due. Don't be a stranger to this show. We want to do some shows from Big 12.
Appreciate it.
So Big 12 tournament, we're going to do some post-game shows. So come again, spread the word about the Houston Round Bar Review. Spread the word about Let's Rage Cougs post-game shows. If you're able to advertise and sponsor, email Andy at letsragecougs@gmail.com. Andy is the brains behind the idea of these post-game shows, and he's done a great job of producing, and we have plans and hope to make it bigger and better going forward. But as always, regarding the Houston Round Bar Review, since 1994, the Houston Round Ball Review, local name, global perspective.
I like it, man. I just want to say, man, these guys have been amazing. I'm still into basketball every day. My son is playing, my team's is playing. I'm so, there's nothing fake about it. Anybody that know me from my playing days in Houston, I gave it my all. I love my school like I love myself. But man, I don't even see me missing the days missing a night now, as long as these guys will have me. This has been great times for me. And, I just been happy that you guys invited me on.
Oh, big thanks to you. You've been great. You've hit a home run the first 2 shows, and anytime you want to hop on, the door's always going to be open, sir.
Appreciate it, man. Much love. Go Cougs.
That's it. Go Cougs, everybody.
That's how we end it. Go Cougs. We'll be back Tuesday night.
Tuesday night.